Hi, this is Dee Omahen. I'm Realtor with Keller Williams, and I am interviewing Nicole Crosby. She is the chairperson of the board for the St. John's Soil and Water Conservation District. Me, Nicole.
Good morning.
So I was excited to interview you because I think a lot of people probably don't understand how your district works. And I was wondering if you could explain what the process is and what services you do.
Okay, sure. Well, we are elected officials. There are 5 of us, and 2 of us were elected in the last election in November, and 3 of us will be up for re-election, or if they choose to run again, in 2022. So we have staggered terms. We're a nonpartisan position, and we're unpaid. It's volunteer, totally. So it's something that we all, have passion about. And whether people come from backgrounds that are Democrat or Republican or independent or some other party, we don't talk about that. And because I find that especially at the local level, people really tend to sort of all be in agreement that we want to protect our natural resources. It doesn't get split by party lines. So I think it's great that we're a nonpartisan position. Anybody can run for the position who's a resident, and anybody can attend our meetings. We have public meetings once a month on the 4th Wednesday at 9 a.m. And we always list our last meeting was on Zoom. But even if we're meeting in person, we're also always, you can always attend our meetings by Zoom. And I always put the Zoom link on our Facebook page, which is St. John's County Soil and Water Conservation District. So the word county is in the name on our Facebook page, even though it's not technically part of our name. Yeah, but did you want me to elaborate a little bit more about what we do?
I think it's really interesting if you could read the statutes.
So it was originally a federal mandate originally. And came out of the Dust Bowl problem in our country, disaster, I should say, that we needed to conserve our natural resources. So that's the background. And I'll just read the very first statute. You don't want to hear them all. But the very first statute, I think, pretty well sums up what we do, which is policies to promote the appropriate and efficient use of soil and water resources, protect water quality, prevent floodwater and sediment damage, preserve wildlife, protect public lands, and protect and promote the health, safety, and general welfare of the people of the state. So it's actually even broader than soil and water. It includes wildlife, it includes safety and health. And it goes on to talk about farms, forests, grazing lands. There's so much more that's covered, but that kind of gives you the sense of it. So, we don't actually, in terms of our powers, we don't have regulatory power. We don't have enforcement power, but we can be a liaison between community interests and regulatory agencies. So, for example, we have been involved in some community issues regarding the Marsh Landing subdivision. And so we did act as a liaison on that. We even wrote a resolution about that regarding our concerns about how the regulatory agency has been the source of a lot of complaints by neighbors with flooding and other issues in that subdivision. So that's one example of something we can do. Other things we do are there are annual contests for students that are part of our education mission. Poster contest, speech contest, something called the envirothon. So we also, we promote policies that are, there's something, for example, called Florida-friendly landscaping. That's something that we're very interested in promoting, to reduce water consumption. I mean, one of the big ways to, 50% of our drinking water goes outside into our lawns and gardens. So we want to spend a lot of time talking about how to reduce that number. That's a big number. So some of it comes from residents coming to us with an issue, and some of it comes from our own plans and objectives.
Wow. I mean, that is amazing how you're in charge of so many different areas. You can really make
Well, I wouldn't want to say in charge of, but I would say have some influence over. How about that?
Yeah, exactly. You have some influence.
We can like shine a light on something. We can maybe, present something to the media if we felt that we needed to do that. We can bring awareness to something.
That's wonderful. And what inspired you to run for this position?
Well, I was originally co-founder of Save Guana Now, which was all about conservation. It was about trying to stop 100 acres of conservation land in St. Johns County from being developed. And so I guess, we had so much publicity about that over the years that people knew about my work, and people came to me and asked me if I would consider running for this position. So that's how it came about, because of that. And then, ironically, it's the kind of position that when people run for it, they either don't spend a penny campaigning for it, which was my intent, which was not to spend $1 campaigning for it, or they might spend a few $100s. And this last campaign was very different because maybe about a month or two before the election, no, less than maybe a month before the election, I was sort of stunned to discover that my opponent was spending many thousands of dollars on campaigning. And I found out that the developer that I was opposing for the outpost had given my opponent $10,000. Yes. And then they got a bunch of their developer buddies to kick in, and together they put together a war chest of $43,000 to oppose me. So at that point, I thought, well, maybe I should at least put some signs out. So I quickly, in a couple of days, I raised like $3,000 and put signs all over the county and did a lot of Facebook and a lot of online stuff. But so that's what happened. And I was happy that I prevailed despite the war chest that the developers had put together. They also had about $15,000 from PACs. So it was something I was shocked to be up against.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
Yeah, it was. It was really crazy.
Well, what would be the ideal candidate?
Well, it's interesting because people come from all different backgrounds for this. We have a farmer on our board, which is really important because farmland is a big part of St. Johns County. A lot of people don't realize that. And so we really value his expertise. He's brought so much to this. We have, some people might be like a master gardener, a master naturalist. I think anybody who comes to this with any kind of strong interest in conservation and nature, one of our members has hiked much of the state of Florida. Another member has just been a really strong advocate. One of our members actually ran for county commissioner in the last election. So they come from all different places, but just share a passion of wanting to conserve.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for giving back to the community and volunteering your time for the St. John's Soil and Water Conservation District.
You're welcome. Thanks for the interview, and I'm happy to have an opportunity to bring some awareness to what we do.
Definitely, and hopefully people will check out your meetings and follow you on Facebook. Great. All right. Well, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks a lot, Dee. Take care.
You too.